Mark sat at his kitchen table, staring at the envelope in his hands. It had no return address, only his name neatly written in black ink. The handwriting was eerily familiar. With a deep breath, he opened it and pulled out a single sheet of paper. Hey, Mark, it's been too long. Come visit me. The house is the same, just how we left it. You remember the way. Come soon. David. Mark's stomach twisted. David. His best friend from childhood. The one he hadn't seen in 10 years. The one who... Number it couldn't be. He checked the postmark. The letter had been sent from their old town, a place Mark had avoided since the summer everything went wrong. The summer David had died. He told himself it was a prank. Someone must have known their history and decided to mess with him. But deep down, an old, unsettling fear crawled back into his mind. Against his better judgment, he packed a bag and drove back to the town he had sworn never to return to. The house stood exactly as he remembered. The peeling paint, the rusted mailbox, the overgrown lawn. It was like time had frozen since that night. As he stepped onto the porch, the wooden planks groaned under his weight. The front door was unlocked. Mark hesitated, then pushed it open. Inside, dust coated every surface, yet nothing seemed out of place. It was as if someone still lived there, just frozen in time. David, he called, his voice uncertain. Silence. A framed photograph on the mantel caught his eye. It was the two of them, arms around each other's shoulders, grinning. The last summer they spent together. The summer before David drowned in the lake behind the house. The floor creaked behind him. Mark spun around. No one. His breath quickened. He had to be imagining things. Maybe the wind, maybe the house settling. A whisper. Software close. You came. Mark's heart slammed against his ribs. He turned toward the hallway where the voice had come from. The shadows seemed darker there, stretching unnaturally long. Who's there? He demanded. A laugh, familiar, childlike. Then footsteps, slow, deliberate, coming toward him. Mark backed away. The logical part of his mind screamed at him to run, to leave, to never look back. But something stronger, something deeper, rooted him in place. A figure emerged from the darkness. It was David, or rather, something that looked like David. His skin was too pale, his eyes too dark, and his smile wrong, like someone had stitched it onto his face. You finally came back, David said, voice warm but hollow. I've been waiting. Mark shook his head. This isn't real. You're dead. I went to your funeral. I saw... David's grin widened. Did you? Mark's vision blurred. Memories flooded back. The lake, the fight, the accident, the way David had sunk beneath the water, his hand reaching out. And Mark had run. You left me there, David whispered. You promised we'd always be together, but you left. The room grew colder. Shadows stretched toward Mark, curling around his feet. He stumbled back, but the door was gone. The house, the very walls, seemed to pulse and breathe, alive with something ancient and vengeful. Stay, David said, and this time stay. Mark squeezed his eyes shut. This wasn't happening. It couldn't be. He had to wake up. Then fingers, ice cold, brushed his wrist. Mark screamed. The next thing he knew, he was outside, gasping for breath, his car keys clutched in his shaking hands. He had no memory of leaving the house, no memory of running, but the door was shut behind him. And through the cracked window, he swore he saw David watching, still smiling. The letter was still in his pocket, but when he unfolded it, the words had changed. See you soon. Mark didn't stop driving until the house was miles behind him, but deep down he knew the truth. Some things never stay buried, and some friendships never end.